Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, and I got a review for you today. From DC Comics and their Black Label, this is Danger Street, issue number 3, written by Tom King, art by Jorge Fornés, colors by Dave Stewart, and letters by Clayton Cowles. And this awesome cover is also done by Jorge Fornés. Before we get started on the review, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It is all free. The likes, the comments, the subscription, even hitting the bell. And there's another thing that you might not know, but the only way I can see you watching my videos is if you're a public subscriber or you leave a comment. The likes and stuff like that, I can't see who leaves the likes. So if you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below or say hi. Say, hey, I watched the review and I loved it. Alright, now that I got that out of the way. So we are talking about Danger Street, and man, what another issue. This chapter is titled Metamorpho. It does say it on the cover. It took me a little bit to see it, but it does say chapter 3 Metamorpho right there. It's like sideways. But we start out just like all the previous issues with Dr. Fate's helmet. He is the current narrator. I don't know if that's going to be the whole thing. I presume it is. But we're starting out with Lady Cop, and she is searching on what looks like Google. I want to say it's got the GOO. Haha. But she is typing in like blue peep, and eventually blue superheroes. She is looking for the killer that killed one of the dingbats. And she recently found out in the last issue, she got like a little tip that one of the guys is a blue, like, known person. So that's what she's searching for. She's trying to use the printer at the police station, and for some reason no one knows how to use it, and she even questions if they've ever used it before. She eventually does get the color working. But before that happens, the book flips over. It kind of sets up, like, as far as a fairy tale. If you're not reading along with the book, like, we have dragons, we have ogres, we have knights, we have, and they kind of give these tags to certain characters in the books. So we come across the dragons, that being, of course, Darkseid, and, the Allfather, and right here, and I always mess up his name, but I think it's Metatron. He is one of my favorite characters. He's more the, like, sciencey guy. But basically he comes and he tells Darkseid, and I'm drawing a blank at the other this guy. It's the guy who came and told him that Atlas had died. But basically he comes and he tells both of them, hey, I heard that Atlas died. I was crossing the vast, like, multiverses, and all of a sudden everything screamed out to me. But in this, with the problem, and now they're talking about the sky is falling, especially it's something bad that Darkseid fears this. Basically, Metatron tells us that he went to the source wall, shown here. In the DC universe, if you don't know, the source wall is supposed to be the, like, farthest edge of everything until recently. With the Dark Knight Metal series, they kind of went past the source wall. Metatron tells us here in this panel right here, that he found a fracture within the wall and he was able to proceed forward. He said before that the only way you could go, past the wall was death. It doesn't really matter, because everything that happens on the other side of the wall, Metatron says that it's, stays that way. He does eventually go crazy and mad because he's being confronted by, like, numerous different past deceased gods that are being reborn and being killed off at the same moment. And so they're, like, screaming and, like, cajillion times, I don't know. But anyways, through his madness, he does come up with an answer. It is, like, kind of mentioned briefly who would hold up the world if it wasn't Atlas, and Metatron says that it's somebody on Earth. They show here, eventually, like, Darkseid has this whole thing where he gets kind of, like, impatient with Metatron, and he's like, would you just get to the, before I need to kill you. The book jumps over to our two They're supposed to be our two knights, but currently they're on a path of redemption because I mean, they killed one of the dingbats. But they're coming up with a plan to take the helmet back to the same people that they took Metamorpho's arm to make another deal, to get another spell to resurrect the kid that they killed so they can return to being heroes. They mentioned that it's at a movie lot and they need to be in costume, hence that's why Starman is already in costume and he's kind of telling Barbarian that he needs to be in his costume. We jump over to the dingbats and basically they're just talking about like, hey, we need a gun. The other two kids are like, why do we need a gun? And they're basically like, hey, you know, somebody killed our friend, you know, we got to find out who it is. We don't know who it is, but we know we need a gun to kill the guy. There's a like a little piece that comes up about money, and Fats actually says that he actually has money. It's only brought up like real quickly, like right here, and they're like, hey, well, guns cost money, and he's like, oh, I got money. Before the conversation can go any further, the owner of the pool that they're swimming in happens to come home, and he's like, what the hell y'all doing? Get out of my pool. I see y'all. No, stay there. I'm catching y'all. So all three kids, Fats, Crunch, and non-fat Crunch and Bananas, I think it is. Yes, definitely weird names. But they end up taking off running, and that's where they leave us from there. We come across the scene right here, and it comes across as a test. We have the Manhunter, and he states to the Grand Master that he is commencing test 14. He is at the very top of this building, and he's attempting to assassinate somebody, so it seems. We find out who he's trying to assassinate. It's one of the like billionaire kids, and he is traveling with the assassin. The assassin catches something, you know, and tells, you know, the boy not to go outside. This is where it gets a little weird. I don't understand it 100%, but I'm going to kind of say it like I see it. Manhunter does shoot the bullet, and the bullet, for some reason, just stops like inches in front of Assassin's face. At that point, Assassin kind of goes into his assassin mode, trying to find out who did it. We do see, and I learned that this dude can fly. He doesn't appear to be a guy that could fly. Like, if you could fly, why you got guns? But, I mean, maybe he doesn't have any other powers, but yeah, I don't know. But he does fly up there. He finds the gun. The book kind of states, like, an obvious question. What happens when you have two valiant knights on both ends that are willing to sacrifice everything for their cause, their king, their country, whatever? What happens when you put those type of people against each other, and it's just like, you know, basically an all hell breaks loose kind of thing? You know, anybody around should be, you know, wary. Now we jump back over to Lady Cop, and she has printed out various like heroes with blue skin tone, and she is questioning the gas station clerk, and he does point out Starman. He also states kind of the obvious that he's like, this is kind of weird. He was like, you brought me a whole bunch of pictures of heroes. He was all like, I mean, yeah, the guy does look like that guy. He was like, but aren't you supposed to bring me like a lineup of villains or bad people? And Lady Cop kind of brushes it off and kind of walks away. She's like, hey, if I need you, I'll, you know, give you a call, don't travel, you know, all that normal cop stuff. We jump back over to the conversation that I mentioned before, and it is brought up that, and I'm probably going to mess up his name, but Scott Freeman, I think his name is, the Miracle Man with Big Barda. And basically that is Metron's answer to holding up the world is the Miracle Man. Saying that he's strong enough by himself, and then, and I'm drawing like, I think this guy's name is the Allfather, or I don't remember. He's one of the other gods, the new gods, but he basically states to, you know, Darkseid and Metatron, he's like, hey, with Scott, you know, with Barda, they're twice as strong. The problem is a matter of sending someone from Apocalypse or New Genesis to retrieve Scott to hold up the sky or something. So they bring up like, different names to retrieve Miracle Man, and it's stated that, of course, Cowles, which is Darkseid's most loyal lieutenant, and basically the other guy's like, nah, we can't do that because he'll just destroy the Earth, and that won't be a thing. And then they bring up Mantis, and Mantis isn't really, loyal to Darkseid. Eventually, the one person that while they were talking about this, I was like, well, why don't they just ask him? He's not really like loyal to Darkseid, but but they do call in Orion, Darkseid's son, being born in hell and raised in heaven. But basically, they do, pit the task, for Orion to go retrieve Scott Freeman, the Miracle Man. He is in the process of like beating the crap out of somebody. For those of y'all that don't know, Orion has a weird like he has this demon inside him, and every now and then that kind of takes over him. And that's kind of what we're witnessing right here. He was questioning like this guy that committed a crime. I'm pretty sure people will know who he is. I don't recognize him. But he committed some crime, and the sentence that Orion is delving out, he even says that Apocalypse would not appreciate the punishment, kind of thing. We jump back over to our story's ogre. What is it, Jack Ryder, the Creeper, and he's basically, it's very short, but he's receiving a phone call about like how his show has #1 in the United States, and he, if he keeps at it, he will be #1 in the world. That's kind of it. And this is kind of the conversation between the assassin featured down here and the billionaire kid, as he's like, cleaning Metamorpho's diamond arm. But basically, the assassin's like, yeah, I'll find him. I'll track this killer down. We'll find out what happens. And the billionaire's like, look, your name's the assassin. I paid you. You're gonna do that. We jump back over to our two knights, Barbarian and Star-Lord, and they are meeting with one of the bad guys, the billionaire kids, and basically they state, hey, we need, the helmet. Well, we have the helmet, but we need another spell. They are taken into a back like trailer so no one can hear them. It's stated for other reasons, but they're taken back to the trailer, and the kid says, look, I've already got you the spell loaded up. We've already paid for it. It's already ready to go, but we're gonna need a payment. Nothing's for free, kind of thing. The Barbarian mentions, working as a mercenary, paying it over time, kind of thing, and the billionaire kid's like, no, I'm a mega billionaire, movie star, director. He's like, I don't need all that, and he was like, I need something else, and he asked for the sword of Shambhala, and I want to assume that is Barbarian's sword. They show the sword right there in Barbarian's lap. You can kind of see it has these curved, has a curved like hilt to it. We jump back over, and for some reason the cops were called on the Dingbat's pool party, and she was able to pick up Non-Fat, and she's just kind of stating the obvious, why are we in that dude's pool? Non-Fat does have a good explanation on it. He was like, man, I was lost, I accidentally fell into the pool, is that breaking the law, kind of thing. She ends up getting a printer question as she's interviewing Non-Fat, and basically as she leaves, that's where we get some of the, like, I guess the juicier piece of the story right here, because he's sitting there and he's told to, be still and not touch anything. He's even told that there's cameras in the room. He sees past that and opens up the evidence file, and of course he finds Starman's picture, and on the picture she has labeled like #1 suspect, potential suspect, that kind of thing. The book ends with like a couple different panels, like it ends with a short story about how like It's the lady cop talking about, toner and color and the printer, but in a nutshell, it's basically the lady cop comforting this person about a problem they couldn't fix. And it's the story's way of telling you, yeah, isn't that what you want? Like the princess of the story, like comforting you, telling you everything is going to be fine. But that's kind of the message that the book leaves us off with. The panels that it leaves us off with is basically like Jack Ryder doing his show, non-fats putting back the evidence. We got Assassin Manhunter and the billionaire kid now holding that sword with the curved hilt. And basically Starman back on that beach about to, summon or try to do the spell again. And then we got Orion, smiling. And that's basically where the book leaves us off. Another fantastic issue, great art. The story, like the fact that we're getting other characters now brought in is epic. Orion and Mr. Miracle. I'm excited for this. I don't know about you. Please let me know down below what you're thinking about this book. Are you still liking it? If you're an old school reader, are you enjoying, if you are physically reading the book, are you enjoying what they're doing with some of these old, not really used characters like Lady Cop and that kind of thing? But hey, that's my review. It's kind of long. I will let you guys go. I got more reviews coming. Be on the lookout for that. If you are interested, I will see you guys later. Bye!